What up? What it do? This your boy Pit Boss. I'm back on, y'all. Back with the early morning cup. I think I might be on all morning. This is gonna be a touchy subject. We're gonna take a look at this theology. The conscious community is crazy. Y'all know how I feel about it. Let's cut to the chase. Time to get straight to the action pack. The action jack, you know where the action at. The Kemetic community and white Satanism. Their theology. I got up pretty early this morning. Tried to beat the whole goddamn conscious community up. They're not really ready. The war on your mind, excuse me, the war on your mind is on. So Pit Boss gonna get an early start on their ass. We're gonna lay some leather down and we're gonna see what's really going on, right? We're gonna find out why they shit match up. What's really going on? Right?
Why I love.
Boom. Now, so I put up a couple videos, a couple little context real quick. You know what I'm saying? Let me take a look at y'all. It's all over the place. It's early in the morning. I've been away too long. I'm sure the haters gonna show up in a minute. So we're gonna see. Let me start by laying down a little bit of this conversation first. So we're gonna hear from the true white Satanists. I want you to pay very close attention to the ideas that they put forth in their understanding, who their enemy is, and who the so-called enemy is of the Black conscious community at large on YouTube. These channels, you know, I've decided to move on away from their paradigm, so thus I'm not really speaking on anybody in particular, but you guys hear their channels, you know what they're talking about, and so we're just gonna get into it. We're just gonna lay down the facts. Y'all know how we do it. So let's hear from one real quick. Let me share this screen.
Satanic Bible. This person contacted me telling me that the Satanic Bible is better than the real Bible, but that doesn't say a lot, considering a lot of us think Harry Potter is better than the Bible, considering more of us go to see the movies Harry Potter than the movies based on the actual Bible, and you know Harry Potter is honest about being fiction. But before we check out the Satanic Bible, let's check out the comments on my video called Why I Love Lucifer. 19,000 likes, 3,000 dislikes. I don't know, I've seen Christians have a worse ratio. This person says, worship who you want, people. I didn't think we're going to start off with a non-shitty comment, but awesome. This person says, heaven sounds too good to be true. Wait, what part of heaven sounds too good to be true? God kicked Lucifer out of heaven and plans to burn him alive because of the disagreements they had. So what happens if you go to heaven and disagree with God? Or does he strip you of your free will once you're there? Someone says I look like Lucifer in a good way. Unfortunately, I'm not Lucifer, because if I was, I would use my fairy dust to make my acne disappear. Person says God still loves you, bro, no matter how dumb your statements are towards him. Yeah, allegedly he still loves Lucifer too, but he plans to burn him alive. What about all his children he committed mass genocide against during the whole Noah's Ark thing? Yeah, if that's love, I'll go and pass. I don't want God to love me. Clearly his love can equate to me being drowned with most of the rest of the human species. In the actual Bible, it tells you to love your enemies. And in the Satanic Bible, it said, why should I not hate my enemies? If I love them, does that not put me at their mercy? But to counter that point, obviously God doesn't know what love is, because he has repeatedly killed the people that he says he loves. So, you know, he's a little bit psycho. Side note, can you believe people actually think this shit happened? How fucking stupid do you have to be to think all the animals were packed onto one boat and the whole world was just magically flooded? Like, come on, dude. God was doing miracles on a regular basis back back then, but not now? How come Noah gets the benefit of eternal life thanks to him literally seeing the miracles happen before him, and the rest of us just have to go in the fucking dark? Like, if I was getting visions from God, then I would fucking believe in him, but I'm not getting the visions like Noah, so Noah gets eternal life because he had actual proof that God existed. The fuck is this? Satanic Bible saying Satan has been the best friend of the church and has kept it in business for all these years. I mean, what would a Superman movie be without a villain, right? Just a really long porno of Superman fucking bitches? I'd watch that. Side note, when are we as a society going to let go of our sexual restrictions, a lot of it inspired by religion, and actually make a blockbuster sex film? Like, can you imagine Superman in 3D, 4K, grabbing Lois, ripping off her clothes, flying her up in the air, grabbing her by the leg, and just fucking the shit out of her? That would be amazing. And yet we don't let shit like that happen because we as a society are so sexually conservative. The Satanic Bible has a funny as fuck quote. They're basically saying good and bad. A lot of it depends on who you ask. They use an example of missionaries talking to Eskimos about how horrible hell is because there's fire everywhere. And the Eskimos were like, hey, how do we get there? Here the Satanic Bible's talking about what I've already talked to you guys about, which is hypocrisy in the church. I personally encountered more immoral people in church when I was a kid than when I experienced out. And that's because Christians have this thing called forgiveness. The Bible literally makes it clear that you can do some of the most horrible shit so long as you give yourself to God, ask for forgiveness, that you can still fucking go to heaven. Let's hope the literal God that Hitler didn't pray for forgiveness right before he fucking died. Because yes, Hitler was a Christian. I mean, shit. Here's Matthew 6:14-15 saying all you have to do to get forgiven for all your sins is forgive everyone else for all their sins. Here it says all we have to do is confess our sins and we will be forgiven. Fuck. Acts 3:19. It's telling you to repent and all your sins will be wiped out. It doesn't say, hey, rapists, you're excluded because you're terrible human beings and you shouldn't go to heaven. It doesn't say, hey, child molesters, you went too far, you're not going to heaven. What it says is shit like this. Yay, bye sins. The Bible's sending a pretty loud and clear message. Rape, molest, murder, etc. While the Bible doesn't always agree with those acts, it clearly states you will be forgiven for them, and that is unacceptable. Another logical statement by the Satanic Bible. Apparently the Bible teaches you to turn the other cheek, whereas the Satanic Bible says, hey, if someone tries to fuck with you, you fuck with them back. Or in other words, defend yourself. Based on where the Bible tells you to not fight back and the Satanic Bible tells you to defend yourself, I think I'm going to go with the Satanic Bible in this one. Regardless, there are plenty of other logical Satanic Bible quotes. There are also plenty of logical Bible quotes. The Bible is a very big book. But for as much as I know about the Satanic Bible and the actual Bible, I'm going to go with the Satanic Bible on this one because at least the Satanic Bible isn't pretending to be something it's not. The Satanic Bible doesn't say it loves you and then drowns you. It appears to be what it says it is. And I'd rather hang out with someone who's honest about being a dick than hang out with someone who's also a dick but lies to you about it on top of that. Enough said for now.
That's the classic. That's a classic commentary by any one of these Kemetics in the conscious community. They all preach the same concept. I got another video by that guy. We're going to listen to it in a moment. But just to give some illustration of how the white Satanists, they're honest about what they follow. They show you the Satanic Bible. They say, well, you know, this Satanic Bible is honest. But that Bible, it's hiding something. And they don't know nothing about the conscious community. They ain't never heard of none of these guys that you see talking that talk. But the people in the conscious community, they want to deny that they're following the satanic ideology that was here before their Dr. Ben and before Dr. Clark. Before they came on the scene, you had too many of them. All the white Satanists, Madame Blavatsky, Alice Bailey, Anne Rand, Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, on and on. There was a group of wizards and warlocks and wizards and thus the like, following a particular doctrine. We need a little more content though. So I have another video by the same cat, right? So he's just like the rest of the conscious community. He didn't always believe. I mean, at one time he believed in the Bible, and then he switched his game up. Once he switched his game up, he no longer believed, right? So we're going to get into it a little more, drop a little more content. Then we're going to make a comparison about what he talking about and what the black Kemetics in the conscious community talk about when they share their dishatred for the Bible. This is easy, lightweight work, right? This is lightweight work.
Haven't made videos in the past revolving around my lack of belief in God. But here's one, and here's one, and here's another one. The list goes on and on. Regardless, let's blow this question out of the water. This person says that when they're asked why they don't believe in God, they normally respond there's too many reasons to choose one. But they're likely talking about a reason like the fact that over 300,000 women are raped every year, 56 billion animals are slaughtered every year, and about 55.3 million people die every year. The third leading cause of death, hospitals. What the fuck? Is there a God? Do you go to the hospital to get better or to get worse? Because apparently the hospital isn't quite as effective as we'd like it. I mean, come on. Maybe next time you encounter a surgeon, don't put quite so much faith in them. Being one of the leading cause of deaths in the world takes a lot of fucking up. A lot of people don't believe in God because when they need him, or I guess her, fuck, she'd be sexy. But when they need God, God is not there. Like, for instance, I went to church most of my childhood, and when we had group prayer, I remember more prayers going unanswered than prayers going answered. Especially coincidentally when someone would be praying about someone who was actively in the hospital. Here's some logic for you folks. If God didn't want you to get hurt, why would he let you get hurt? Are you implying that he's incompetent and needs to be reminded to do his job? Is that why you pray? Dear Jesus, you're fucking up. Please correct this. I mean, come on. A lot of people use the Bible as justification for their hatred, which is weird because the Bible also preaches love. So it's kind of like a big book of contradictions, just more reasons why I don't believe in the Christian God. Some people don't believe in God due to what's happened to a lot of black people in the United States. This is kind of ironic because apparently being a black person without a religion is less common than being a white person without religion. And yet, where is God during all these shootings? You could say, oh, that's free will. But if free will means God just sits by and does nothing, then what the fuck is the point of worshiping God? I'll just wait till I'm about to die and then say, oh my God, I'm so religious right now, and save myself from wasting all that time in church. Seriously, one day someone might say I have heart disease or cancer or whatever, and I'll likely be like, okay, I love God now because I have nothing to lose. Please, God, take me into your holy gates. Blah, 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 whatever I need to say. Maybe there's a chance there's actually a heaven. All you suckers going to church not realizing that all you really have to do is give yourself to God, and for the most part, he'll just take you in. So what's the rush? 1 John 1:9. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just, and will forgive us of our sins and purify us from all unrighteousness. I mean, you understand that I'm 100% right? All I literally have to do is say, dear God, please forgive me for procrastinating all this time. Please also forgive me for ever saying I was agnostic and not Christian. It's called cheating your way to heaven. God forgives all sins, so I win. This person doesn't believe in God because their outlets shorted out. I'm actually pretty sure man invented outlets, not God. But you know what God did technically invent? Pedophiles. Because believe it or not, people don't necessarily choose to be attracted to children. Just like people don't choose to have foot fetishes or choose to be chubby chasers, humans are just naturally attracted to what they're attracted to. Hence why when I'm in the bedroom, I tend to have a dominance fetish. It's super hot and you can't convince me of otherwise. So my point is, God invented pedophiles. Apparently the majority of pedophiles, if not all of them, didn't choose to be attracted to children. And you know, that kind of makes it God's fault. There's also deformed people, and sometimes those deformities cause death. In fact, statistically, I'm pretty sure God is the #1 cause behind all abortions in the world. I mean, have you ever heard of a miscarriage? Apparently 15 to 20% of all pregnancies end in miscarriage. Sounds like God is pro-choice. But he doesn't leave that choice up to the pregnant women, does he? No, he just lets other people's children die because God is a fucking dick. This person's pointing out that prayer doesn't work and that's why they don't believe in God. Apparently there's been multiple studies showing that prayer is actually extremely ineffective. They say prayer is the most frequently used form of alternative medicine. That makes me think of a comedian who once said, you know what they call alternative medicine that works? Medicine. Oh yes, there he is. Mind you, it might not work as often as we'd like, because remember, hospitals be killing the shit out of people. We in America are all worried about firearms, car accidents, and suicide, but if you put all those together, those motherfucking doctors are the ones killing all the people. Maybe not so much put down your guns, but more so, hey doctors, put down your fucking scalpels. Because apparently doctors are 7.3 times more dangerous than somebody who owns a gun. Damn statistics, you scary. And another person saying God wasn't there when they needed him, or her. But no, probably one of the biggest reasons why I don't believe in God is because my former Christian pastor father was allegedly accused by multiple people I personally know of molesting them. His supposed targets, women and children. In fact, in my experience, I found more immoral people inside the churches than outside. I once went to private school for a single day, and just being there for a brief amount of time, I heard more swear words out at recess than I would normally hear at a public school for an entire month. But no, all those reasons and plenty more are why I personally don't believe in God. Mind you, apparently because I don't believe in God, I guess I don't qualify as agnostic, because I'm not a person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. Now looking at the definition of atheist, apparently I'm that. I mean, I believe in the possibility of God, but even more so, evolution just seems to contradict itself a whole lot less. So I guess I'm an agnostiist, atheist agnostic hybrid.
Now, if I was to take this white dude, paint him black, put an unk on his ass, he'd be number one in the conscious community. Number one in the conscious community. His rhetoric would fit perfectly with all the L's in the goddamn conscious community. So, let's get a little. Hold on. Be strong. When it's on, it's on. All right. I got too many spotlights shining too bright late in the night. See if I can clear that up to get a good view. Now I might have to get up and clean off the lens and shit. Damn, okay. We're looking better. So, as you see, he has the very concept of the Kemetics in the conscious community. He has all the rhetoric. Yet, just by listening to this guy, he's not following the conscious community Kemetics to get his understanding. He's following the Satanic Bible. He has been offended by the church. I'm not talking about black churches either. He don't look like a white boy hanging out at a Baptist church. This guy's a white boy at a white church who has decided that the rhetoric and the things he sees going on in that church, he no longer wants to be a part of it. He wants to step out and join the Satanic church. And there are many of them like him on the internet, in the white world, right? We can track their ideas right back to these satanic masters that came long before them and laid down all of that information. So let me pull up the guy kind of responsible. Satanic. Right? So it's a man named Anton LaVey, right? Let's get a look at Anton LaVey. We're going to go to some Wikipedia. All y'all people hate Wikipedia. Hate this. Let's take a look at this guy, right? This is him. That's one of the Kemetics in whiteface. Boy, if he was blackface, he's an atheist. Let's look at what he did and how he did it, right? Who he followed and what the hell he believed. Because this is the roadmap. This is how you come up with all of this slander, all of this nonsense, idiocy, violence, verbal violence. You know what I mean? So Anton LaVey, he was born Howard Stanton LaVey in 1930. Died in 1997. He was an American author, one of them literary guys, a musician, and an occultist. He was the founder of the Church of Satan and the religion of LaVeyan Satanism. He authored several books, including the Satanic Bible, the Satanic Rituals, the Satanic Witch, the Devil's Notebook, the Satanic Speaks. In addition, he released 3 albums, including Satanic Mass, Satanic Takes a Holiday, and Strange Music. He played a minor on-screen role and served as techno advisor to the film The Devil's Reign, and served as a host of narratives with Nick Borges in the 1989 Mondo film Death Scenes, right? Let's get down into the Church of Satan. Becoming a local celebrity through his paranormal research and live performances as an organist, include playing the Wiltzer at the Lost Weekend Cocktail Lounge. He retained many San Francisco notables to his party. Guests include the Corin D. Plessin, Michael Hayner, Chester Arthur, Forrest J. Ackman, Fitz Libero. Now, mind you, some of these names you can always notice that they tend to go towards Jews. So now you have a connection going on with the white Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, the Sephardic Jew, right? And what they promote, they're Old Testament Jews. Thus, they believe that the Jesus of the New Bible that he was a false prophet. He didn't exist. He was this, he was that. These are the narratives of the Kemetics. They often share this same belief about the Bible. And you wonder, who's sponsoring? Who's promoting these ideas? How did the Black community become so corrupted? If you ever seen the movie Cadillac Records, right? Took a Jew, set up a music company. He formulates and promotes all the Black soul music. Wolf. Oh man, he just kept coming with them one after another. All the great acts. The early stage of Motown. After Cadillac Records ended, Motown kicked in. And Motown was a victim of the era of Cadillac music, as they assimilated all the Blacks, but they couldn't get the money out. They were a victim to the circumstance that the Jews had already incorporated themselves into the Black life, and the Jews have always used the literary scene, our artistic scene, actors, singers, dancers, poets. They had controlled them ever since the 1920s with the Harlem Renaissance. They controlled that. They controlled our fight for civil rights. They controlled that. They control it to this day. How do you get the Jew out of our business? You surely don't get the Jew out by integration. That's just fueling the Jew to have full control over the ideology and the format and the way Blacks perceive themselves. They wrote a lot of movies. No Way Out. That was a good movie back in the day. One of their greats. Let's get that movie real quick. See, some of this stuff you got to go back and you got to view it. You got to go see what the hell was really going on. And what's that guy's name? Here we go. This is the one we want. 1950 film. Yep. So let's take a look at it. I just want y'all to see this stuff as I'm pulling it up. I know I'm all over the place. This might be a long show. I don't know. I'll throw the link out and see if y'all join in the conversation. We can be here for 4 hours. Wake everybody up to the good news that the white Satanists agree with you, Kemetic people, wholeheartedly. So here's the movie starring Sidney Poitier. Now, Dr. Luther Brooks, that's Sidney Poitier in the movie, an intern who has just passed the state board examination to qualify for his license to practice, is the first African-American doctor at an urban country hospital in which he is trained. Because he lacks self-confidence, Luther requests to work as a janitor, as a junior resident at the hospital for another year. Johnny, Dick Paxton, and Ray Biddle, Richard Winmark, brothers who were both shot in the leg by policemen as an attempted robbery, and are brought to the hospital's prison ward. And as Luther tends to the disorientated Johnny, he is bombarded with racist slurs by Ray, who grew up as Beaver Canal, a white working class section of the city. Believing that Johnny has a brain tumor, Luther administers a spinal tap, but Johnny dies during the procedure. Wondering if Ray's antagonism may have caused him to be careless, Luther consults his mentor, chief medical resident Dr. Daniel Warthon. And Warthon concedes that a brain tumor was only one possibility. Feeling that he must prove his accuracy of his diagnosis, Luther requests an autopsy, but Warthon informs him that according to the state law, they cannot proceed without permission of the deceased family. When Ray refuses, he does not want his brother's body to be cut up. Wharton confers with the head of the hospital and Dr. Sam Moreland, Stanley Riggs, about requesting an autopsy. So in this particular movie, Sidney Poitier, this is his coming out role, he has no way out. He got no way out of this racist madness. So it's a 1950s movie. Guess who wrote it? Who wrote it was the Jews of Hollywood, the talented 10 of the Jews. They called themselves the Hollywood 10. They were socialist, communist, revolutionaries in Hollywood during the 40s, to which they got blackballed and went underground. They was writing all the famous movies without their names on the title. But being reinstated back into popularity in Hollywood films, they came back on the scene, and this time they had new ideas. The new ideas would be that the black community would get starring roles, but they are going to use them to propagate a particular message that would go through the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, into the 80s, into the 90s, into the 2000s. And we would have what you call exploitation of the black community and the degradation of our society through Hollywood films. And now this is the life of integration. And so we find ourselves confused. Let's see real quick. Let me read the chat. Cosmic says, elaborate on what Satan is or what it could be. Well, for that, Cosmics, you have to go buy yourself the Satan Bible, because we're taking the idea, of course, the Satan concept is spoken of in the Bible. In the Bible, Satan is a deceiver. Simple put, a deceiver. Now, when it says that he was an archangel, an angel in the Bible is a messenger, someone sent from God with the message. Now, at the time, they say that he went away from God, decided that he God. You know how they say, I'm God, what up, God? So Satan became God, decided that he's not going to follow instruction. He's going to do what thou wilt. That's what Aleister Crowley wrote. See, when Aleister Crowley wrote a Bible, he wrote a book. It'd be called, well, he wrote a couple of books. But in this particular aspect, to do what thou wilt, that became the origins of Thelema, which the word Thelema simply means do what thou wilt. This is the idea of being God, that you have to take no instruction, that whatever you can conceive in your mind, whatever righteousness you make righteousness, you manifest that into the world. And by manifesting your own personal belief, your own personal righteousness, however you manifest it, what you manifest is your creation, your God. Now, all we can do is examine what you manifest and see the result of your manifestation. And then we got to line that up against people that we consider to be righteous throughout history. So when we see righteous people that make it into the world history, and we see the acts that they committed, and we line them up to your information, what you manifested, and then the result of your manifestation. So if we start with Aleister Crowley, who created Wicca, now we can look at Wicca because that's one of his manifestations of his do what thou wilt policy. We look at the rhetoric coming out of the group. We take his Torah cards. And although the Kemetics will say, well, Aleister Crowley wasn't on point. He twisted and flipped our information. You don't seem to want to throw the information away because Aleister Crowley got a hold of it. But when the Christians tell you, hey, the Bible is African as well, and the white people got a hold of that. Well, when the white people get a hold of the Bible, you want to throw the Bible away. You don't want to say, well, they twisting the Bible. You don't want to say that. The white dude that I played earlier just said that the German Hitler was a Christian. That's a Satanist trick right there. That's a deceiver right there. It is obvious that it's impossible based on the standard of the Bible that Hitler could be a Christian. Hitler was killing Jews for the simple purpose of killing Jews for political reason. So how can you take his actions and identify him with what the book says? But that's how Satan works. That's how deceiver works. See, whenever you want to argue the point about who a deceiver is and what it is not, You're simply just fighting a spiritual warfare in your own mind. For these are simple definitions. It's not hard to understand what a Satan is. If you do any small research, Satan is God of himself. He is the first answer to becoming an anti-most high, to becoming himself most high. See, when you get taught by these Kemetics about the kings of and the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, they forget to mention that the pharaoh had so much power that he became God, a deity of himself. And once he becomes God, ruler over all. See, when the Bible says ye are all gods, it is talking about those who were in power, who had the ability to make decisions over people's lives. This is what the word God means in the statement where it says ye are all gods. It is not saying ye are all creators of the heavens and the stars and the universe. It ain't saying that. It's saying, listen, you have power to judge over people. You are a decision maker. By being a decision maker, you are a god. And the pharaoh was a decision maker over his kingdom. See, everyone in the kingdom of ancient Egypt were subject to the king. No one owned anything. Everything belonged to the pharaoh. The pharaoh could take your wife instantly for the night, drop her back off in the morning, tell you she wasn't worth a damn, give her back to you. What can you do? You gonna do something to the pharaoh? I believe not. He'll have your head chopped off, served on a platter. You'll be the next victim sacrificed to his ancestors. Yeah, the Kemetics was famous for killing people to their ancestors. See, they started all these rituals. You can't blame the white folks because Greece and Rome were not yet in existence. They had not yet created all of these types of traditions. Now, let's take away from what the pharaoh is doing versus the spiritual people of ancient Kemet. The spiritual people, they have no true power in the aspect of regulating laws that operate. So they have words of wisdom. They give you the 42 negative confessions that they wrote down. People say, well, those are plagiarized from the Bible. Okay. So now let's take it there. The 10 Commandments are plagiarized from the 42 negative confessions. This is what they say in the Kemetic world. The Kemetic world speaks just like the white Satanist world. I'm going to keep reminding you. They speak the same language. They're just in blackface. So it's accepted because it's in blackface. And the girls are sexy. They got curves. And they know all about natural healing. And they know all about cosmic energy. And they know all that flim, flam, flam, blam, thank you, ma'am, but can't get their goddamn self out of jail. That's a fact. The Kemetic world has no income. They have no economic power whatsoever. You can't call on them for a goddamn dime. They haven't put that together yet. They've only been in business since the 80s, right? So let's go back to ancient Kemet and let's show you how the conscious communities failed to All right. I had to restart the whole computer. Hopefully, you're still hanging in there. Okay, I'm coming back up. All systems are back. You can't stop the techie with the Kaneki. Okay, so we back at it. I'm trying to tell you what, it's rough being online these days. Boy, they got all types of systems out there. But anyway, we're going to beat this into the ground because I'm listening to too many channels and they're trying to veer right back into the same damn path that they were on. But they don't want to talk about the truth. So back to this ancient Kemetic business, right? So when you follow the ancient Kemetic story, eventually you get to the 1st century BC. No one has proved that the Kemetics have migrated out of ancient Egypt by the millions, right? This was a major city located on the Nile River that could supply millions of gallons of water and food to millions and millions of people, and thus a great city was formed. Because without food and water, you can't put up millions of people in one city in ancient time. You see, technology allows us to do that today, like the city of Los Angeles. Water comes all the way from the Colorado River, all the way to Los Angeles. Thus, you can make cities all over the place these days. But back then, you had to be pretty nifty and jifty with your science and your technology, and you needed to be near some water. And thus, this city was born. So let's get to the last era of the ancient Kemetic world and the teachings that they taught. So according to the narrative, both Bible, history, and the Kemetic world, in the 1st century, the ancient temples of Kemet were open. They had priests who were under the guise of Rome, and prior to Rome, they were under the guise of of Greece, Alexander the Great, the Ptolemies, all the way down until the Caesars took power. So in the 1st century, the Kemetics were oppressed by the Romans. The Hebrew Israelites were oppressed by the Romans. The Romans was following Roman mythology, which they switched up from Greek mythology. And prior to the Greek mythology, there was the Kemetic mythology. So now that Kemetic mythology is still in existence. The temples of ancient Kemet is still open. They are masters of their history. They write in a fine writing of hieroglyphics, of Coptic script, of Demotic script, and all the scripts. They know all the scripts. You can't fool them with their own story. And the Bible is presented by the so-called apostles, to whom the Kemetics and the white Satanists say, that wasn't real. This ain't real. There's no real God, right? So here you go. One of the apostles, supposedly Mark, he appears in Kemet. He's in the city. He's in this great city of Alexandria. He's walking around. He's checking out the scene. He sees one of the temples. The temples are open. He walks into the temple. He sees the priest. Now, the priest, they're following along 5,000-year tradition. They know about every god Kemet ever had and every ruler ever ruled, and they're in their teaching. Same system, but further along. They're teaching out a different script these days. They got the hieroglyphic, the ancient script. They got the Demotic script. They got the Coptic script. Like we said, they got all the scripts. They got all the knowledge. They know all the books. They read it all. 1st century. In walks an apostle. Supposedly the apostle Mark. So the apostle Mark looks at the priest and say, hey, what you got there? He said, well, we got these 42 negative confessions, and we got all of our ancient deities and all of our worshiping practices and so forth and so on. He says, okay, let's have a conversation. So they have a conversation. He's spitting that Bible. They're spitting that ancient Kemetic science. Now, if the Bible was so stolen, would it not be that they would be able to identify their own information? Wouldn't it be that way that the Kemetic priests of the first century could identify their own information? Don't you think they would have said, listen, this is our information that you're trying to run on us? That ain't what they did. When they heard this information, when they heard the rebellion against the people who are oppressing them by this particular group and ideology. See, in history, in the first century, it is only the Christian ideology that is rebelling from the Roman oppressors. The Coptics and the Demonics and the Kemetics, they're not rebelling. They're in total cooperation. They have been cooperating since Alexander the Great. They have fully integrated. They are integrated and living in it and loving it. Just like McDonald's, they're loving it. They don't really love it, but they're loving it. They're living with it copacetically. There's no aggression. They never fought back. Where's the great war between the Kemetics and the Greeks? Where's the great war between the Romans and the Kemetics? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But you can't get these guys to talk about that. They fly all the way to Egypt and show you the ancient ruins, but don't show you the goddamn war. Where'd all these Kemetics go? Where did the Great Migration happen? They don't tell you. They don't speak on it. Because what happened, they don't want to dispel. So now you have the apostle and you have these Kemetic priests standing in temples that are open for business for anyone visiting Alexandria in that day. Could attend the temple. You could learn about the ancient Kemetic system. It's open for business. Now, with the presence of the apostle and the understanding of the gospels, they cannot bow to Caesar. It is just, it can't happen. But the Kemetics, they've been bowing to ruling powers for 500 years now. At least 300 years, maybe 400 or 500. Whenever Alexander the Great showed up. Some of you historians know the exact date, maybe 330 or something like that. Who knows? Who knows, who knows, who knows, right? But they would have definitely been able to recognize their own information if the apostle was coming with stolen information. The Kemetics love the book, The Stolen Legacy. And it amazes me because when they talk about they love that book, I just say, well, damn, you must love it, but never read it. Because this book is about the Greeks, the Romans, and the Kemetics, all having the same information, all having the same gods, all having the same practice, the same way of building societies, the same way of governing societies. And America has the same goddamn system as them. I'm talking about the political wing of America, that old great Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is following ancient Rome, which was following ancient Greece, which was following ancient Kemet. Even in today's literature, we got a big hairy beast. He has legs like a goat, upper body like a man. They call him Moloch. Moloch. He's the demon that lives in the labyrinth. This is an ancient story that travels through time. Guess who Moloch is? Moloch has two horns. Man body up top, goat body at the bottom. He's buried in the labyrinth. Well, Moloch is Amun-Ra. Don't believe me? Google it. The two horns are just like the two pillars on the helmet of Amun-Ra. That story transformed through each society. When it went from Kemet to ancient Greece, he turned into Zeus. Zeus had a son. His name was Hercules. Hercules was half man and half God. Jesus was half man and half God. Oh my gosh. Why are the Kemetics preaching white Satanism in blackface? That's the question. Why does your information line up so well? Why does it line up so well? Who has put y'all on it so deep? How do y'all deny this information? Why do y'all deny this information? Since they're against God, why aren't they accepted? Why isn't their information acknowledged, right? How come I'm just refreshing all my pages since I had to go restart my computer? Everything is reset, right? So because the Kemetics, let's see, the two Babylons. I see a couple of y'all that I've seen in the other rooms. Y'all know I watch all the rooms, right? Y'all know I have a whole lot of people. They stay shooting me emails on God. I just sit there and laugh because I'm like, they don't know what's going on. They have yet to provide any answers of economic empowerment. They could only try to follow pitfalls. They can't prove anything. They're only wasting time debating Bible, debating these nonsense topics back and forth. Old punk ass dudes fighting and fighting and fighting. I'm pushing on. But pushing on don't mean I ain't gonna drop this bomb. I'm just not focused on y'all. I'm just not here to talk about y'all. I'm gonna leave your names out of it. Y'all welcome to the page. It's early in the morning. I might let y'all get off in the room. Some of y'all show up in cloaked YouTube channels. Have a ball. Promote yourself. Tell them all about your channel so they can go over there and watch. So, as they try to fight against this book, they're not going to tell you the real history. They're not going to explain why the priest in the 1st century Kemet, Alexandria, Upper Kemet, why they didn't say that the Bible was plagiarized. They were masters of their own information. They would have known still how hieroglyphics was spoken. They would have known. They would be able to speak it. They were allowed to practice their traditions under the guise of Greece and under the guise of the Roman authority. They did not shut down their temples. They had temples similar, dedicated to all types of spiritual systems they were believing in, right? The cross, it's not associated to the Bible. The Celtics had a religion, and the cross was associated to that. The cross goes all the way back to Kemet. The word cross appears in the Bible, but it doesn't have the reference of the cross. This right here, that ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. It was amalgamized later on when the white folks changed over to Christianity. They brought in their paganistic ideas. I heard a Hebrew Israelite tell me, oh, we don't celebrate Valentine. Is that so? Do you know who Valentine was? Do you know who he was fighting against? Do you know what he died for? Just because the white folks synthesize religions and bastardize the information doesn't exclude the history of the individual. He had never said make a day named after me that you know, fall in love with your honey, sweet honey. So if you don't want to celebrate Valentine and the aspect of love and all of that, well, just at least go do the history on who Valentine was. You're going to fall back on that Bible. You're going to find out a little bit more about that Bible. And you're going to hate it a little more, because that's what the Satanists love to do. They love to go against anything the book was trying to express. So they say, hey, man wrote the book. Is that right? Have you ever seen man write another? Do they got another one similar? No, they don't have another book similar to this Bible. They can't find one. They can't make one up today. They can't make a movie that great. The story is too complex. The time span of how long it took to write the Bible, the various things that had to occur, is too amazing. It's too hard to make it out. But if you're Kemetic, you probably got a copy of that stolen legacy. You probably got a copy of the book. I wonder, do you accept that the Greeks and the Romans were following Kemet, and that the American government is following Kemet? I wonder if you ever took time to go watch my video, The Kemetic Kool-Aid. I wonder if you took a drink of that Kemetic Kool-Aid, and if you were fallen victim to white Satanism and blackface. This is why there's an attack on Christianity on a global scale, right? Somebody decided to write a book about it. Somebody said, we need to write a book. We need to write a book. Persecuted. The global assault on Christianity. Big, thick book. Paul Marshall, Layla Gilbert, and Nina Shea. They wrote a book about it. It's a thick book. I still haven't got deep into it yet, so I can't talk much about it. I got shit to do. But there's a global assault. The Kemetics are assaulting. The Islam is assaulting. The Jews are assaulting. The atheists are assaulting. They're assaulting. They're formulating together. But they're trying to act like they're divided. It's going to be hard to deal with this program over here. See, all of these Kemetic demons, you know, you out there. Not all of you are as bad, though. I talk to a lot of Kemetics. I get along with a lot of them. I attract a lot of them to me for some reason. I'll be like, what in the hell are you calling me for? You know I'm going to smash that shit. They be like, but you funny, though. I'll be like, okay, well, you know. We try to make the pill easy to swallow. Because if you're going to push it, you got to push it right. You got to explain why the priests of the first century closed down their temples. Can we get that history? Did the white folks make the Kemetics close the temples? Hell no. Did the Christians make them? Make them? No. They simply told them the gospel. And according to the way Africa is framed out today, by today's standard, the first church was built in Kemet. Explain that. Why wouldn't white people build the first church in white land? Why wouldn't they have a church built? Because they were following Kemetic information and they were building sacrificial things to the gods. They wasn't building churches. See, the Hebrews had, you can call it a church. They called it a temple, same thing to a degree. in Jerusalem. But see, we can't say that Jerusalem is part of Africa politically. So we say that's the Middle East. So we won't count that. But according to the way it's written out today, the first church was in Kemet. Can't deny that. I wonder, was they praying to this mythological Jesus? And what the hell, why didn't the white folks build a church in white land in the first century? Because none of them was following Christianity. None of them. Maybe one or two in the community, you know, it's just they understand the information. But white folks wasn't following that shit. That shit was destroying their country. Not Islam wasn't around. Islam ain't gonna be around for 700 years, so they don't even matter in the first century, right? The Jews, they were against the Romans as well. The ones who didn't follow Christ, they were against Rome as well, because they had the same policy. We cannot bow to Caesar. Caesar was Lord of Lords and God of gods and King of kings, and slapped the shit out of Kemet. Made him sit that ass down. So Kemet sat their ass down. They didn't bring out the Kemetic warlords. Where were they? The Kemetic priests were ineffective. All that ancient African spirituality got their shit stomped out. For hundreds of years, the gods of the Ifa rivers were silent. Europe on silent. Where are your gods? Where are the gods of the ancient Kemetic systems when the Greeks showed up? They sat their ass down. They sat their ass down. They had no spit, no grit for the shit they done with. It was done. White folks smashing all on your shit. Where are you, ancient Kemetic spiritual systems? They're not working. So, because the white folks didn't have enough white folks to shut every goddamn thing down, they integrated you. And Kemet was integrated into Greece, into Babylon before that, the Medes and the Persians before that, but they was fighting back a little bit. But by the time Alexander the Great got there, smacko, schmacko, and wacko is wacko, and boy, the ancient Kemetic system sat that ass down. Then the Ptolemies show up. They say, well, look, let's get a Serapis. One of these Kemetic idiots tried to make Serapis some sort of Jesus model. Serapis was a Greek, a Greco, and an Egyptian blend. Synthesis, a synthesizing of understandings in order to please the populace. Israelites, some of them were weaned off their understanding. They were lost. They were just walking around believing whatever, just because they don't know what the real is no more. And then there was the Hebrew Israelites still over there in Jerusalem, still intact with their history, still speaking that Hebrew spit. This is first century now. This is first century. Do not try to deny that these languages and people did not exist, that these cities did not exist. They had names for the city of Jerusalem. It was the city of God. That were all the Kemetic deities in Kemet, they named Jerusalem the city of God. If Jerusalem in the first century is the city of God, then what in the hell was Kemet? It had more gods than the God allowed. Thousands of gods lived in Kemet, but yet that wasn't the city of God. It had no power because they had fully integrated Kemet, bastardized everybody, and that damn Jerusalem is disobedient. disobedient to Caesar. Just a problem, a thorn in the goddamn heel. They don't want to follow the rules. Why they don't want to follow the rules? Because they have rules that they go by. They call them the commandments. They are the commandment keepers. They are the light to the world. Nobody else is like them. Everybody else didn't want the heat and bowed down to Caesar. Caesar's a badass man. Let's go on to show you how bad Caesar was to your ancient African spirituality, the way he kicked that ass and just shut that shit down. He didn't want to hear it. He don't want to hear about E5 God. He smacked the shit out of your E5 God. He didn't want to hear about that shit. It didn't faze him none. He just trucked over that shit and threw your ass in a Kemetic jail. Made you pay taxes. Made you drop that bullshit and get with this real. But he respected the system because his city comes from it. His gods come from it. So he respected it. And he blended his community in with that community, right? And you guys are liars if you do not give answer to why those temples were shut down in Kemet. You're just a bunch of liars. I'm listening to the conscious community thinking that they're going to all unite. That's bullshit every time it fly out anybody's mouth. Black folks in America are not uniting on a common front. That's some bullshit. That's when you know bullshit going on. Anytime somebody talking about we all uniting, they goddamn lie. Because the Hebrew Israelites would not unite in the goddamn first century. They wasn't going for that shit. They got rules and regulations that do not allow them to unite with no bullshit. Period. They cannot obey. Oh, man. So if I don't drop this shit and keep it pushing, you guys would just be doomed to these fools and this bullshit conversation they kicking on a daily basis. And they go hard because they so goddamn strong. You can't not get around the idiocy that they spit. That shit too strong. Right? So hold on. Let's take a look at the Roman Empire. Right? So this is first century Rome. Right? Let's get it. Let me hide this part. I got to hide that so that we can see this without. All right. So down here. Okay, it won't let me zoom in, so I'm going to have to do it a different way. Hold on. Be strong. Okay. Ah, crap. Okay, I can't do the zoom in. Well, I'll just speak. You guys could see it. So down at the bottom of the screen, it says Egyptus. That's Egypt. Right across the road, right across the street, Judea. That's where the Jews are from. Judea. It's not that far apart. It's not that far apart at all. Now, everywhere you see it kind of colored, a little darker colored than the yellow that's surrounding. This is the territory that the emperor of Rome was controlling. Everything touching that Mediterranean Ocean. They controlled it. Asia, Galatia, Cappadocia, they controlled it. And this is the names of it at that time. Now, way down in Africa, as you see, they had no control. They didn't know what was really going on in Ethiopia. They didn't know what was really popping in Nubia. Damn sure didn't know nothing about South Africa. It was too deep. Didn't know anything about the Sahara Desert, what was going on down there. Their understanding was this area right here. So, Egypt, having such a powerful legacy, was one of the greatest captures that they did. So that's why a lot of history is taking place in that city, because that city was like capturing New York, having New York under your control. So in this city, the Romans, having nothing to do with Christianity other than hunt their ass down, because they're the only people fighting white folks. And you can best believe they did not look like the Ashkenazi Jew or the other Jew with the tanner skin. They did not exist in the first century looking like that. I don't know who they are. They can claim what they want, but they was not in this story in the first century, I guarantee you. And because of that, somebody was fighting them Romans. Somebody made them Kemetics, close down them temples, and build these churches. And they want to tell you that Christianity was stolen from Kemet. If that was true, the priest of the first century would have known that better than any of these slave mentalities running around here today, pumping them lies, operating in disguise. They are Satanists in blackface. And that's just what it is. It's just what it is. If it wasn't so, I'll play you some more white folk Satanists and let you hear what the heck they got to say. They saying the same shit. So if they saying the same shit, but they not studying the conscious community, how in the hell do they know the same shit? Somebody tell me. Because I don't understand. Y'all making up lies for them. Y'all just want it to be so bad. Y'all want it to be too bad. Right? You want to believe these cats so bad that you can't even understand what's going on. You want it too bad. Let's look at a couple of celebrities, right? They got a couple of celebrities in Hollywood. None of them believe in God. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they're in Hollywood and Hollywood love to tell you lies. Let's take a quick look. Find out a couple of these white dudes. Watch how they all atheists. They got the same flow. This shit is hilarious. You're going to be surprised at the black guy.
Reasons, and religion is no exception. Then there are those celebs who have very little religion as we know it, and even less belief in God. And that's not perhaps a good or bad thing, but wait until you see who is listed here. It might even surprise you. With this being said, here are 5 celebrities who don't believe in God. Let's begin. Number 5, Daniel Radcliffe. Not just any old atheist. Daniel is passionate about separation of church and state. The Harry Potter star becomes militant when he sees religious belief dictating laws and is happy to openly anger the far right. It was just in front of the release of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince that Daniel announced his atheism, which had American conservatives in an uproar. He also loves the fact that people think he's gay, as it allows him to go to the gay communities against those who oppose him. Number 4, Lance Armstrong. Lance had his fair share of trials in his life, and each time he has believed in science rather than any god. It was first at the age of 25 that he felt like God could not exist. This was just before he was to get a cancerous brain tumor removed. Later, Lance would also fight prostate cancer, and then famously be stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles for doping. According to Lance and many others, if God is up there, then why would he judge us based on some book and not our personal actions? Lance has made no secret to his atheism. Number 3, Jodie Foster. Here is another outspoken atheist. Jody still seeks to spread acceptance of whatever religion and believes people choose to follow. I absolutely love religions and the rituals. Even though I don't believe in God, we celebrate pretty much every religion in our family with the kids. The Academy Award winning actress has said, and most importantly, Jody's kids will choose what they want to follow themselves. She said that she will not interfere with this. Could the acclaimed actress ever believe in God herself? Well, she states that maybe when he is scientifically proven. Number 2, Angelina Jolie. Neither religious nor a confirmed atheist, Jolie is the perfect example of someone who does good and spread kindness even without a proclaimed system of belief or God. From her adopted children to constant charity work, Jolie can teach everyone a thing or two about spirituality. There doesn't need to be a God for me. There's something in people that's spiritual, that's godlike. The actress has stated, as for those who do believe in God, she hopes that for their sake, he does exist with all due respect. Number 1, Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman is certainly no stranger to God, as he has played the big guy in quite a few movies, so he definitely should heed his own opinion on the matter. Asked once if he believed in God, Freeman simply replied, "Has anybody ever seen hard evidence?" However, the famed actor does believe in God as an entity created by man, or more especially the human mind. He has stated that logic would dictate that those who believe in God actually believe in themselves. Therefore, God did not create us. We created him. And there you have 5 celebrities who don't believe in God. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like and share it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe down below to get...
Yeah, subscribe. So there you have it. More of Hollywood magic. All the great movies, Hannibal, Harry Potter, all of the movies with Morgan Freeman. You have these pictures being put before you. Men of influence, women of influence, guiding you away from the Bible on their persecution of Christianity. A ridiculous fight. A ridiculous fight. So I dropped in, as y'all know, with the pre-Garvey series. Why I choose pre-Garvey. Pan-Africanism. They only talk about Pan-Africanism and don't know what they talking about. Pumping up another atheist, a lame in the community, acting like he can break down Pan-Africanism. Ain't gonna happen. You're never gonna understand it. I just sat and talked to a group of, they're about 32. They all went to school and studied Pan-Africanism. Told me that they had a socialist, the head of the class, that was the professor teaching Pan-African history from a socialist. Damn it, a socialist trying to teach a nationalist view. Then I see another video of some crazy ass so-called revolutionary trying to tell the history of some shit. Don't understand the Panthers. They're a Panther and don't understand the Panthers. Don't understand the philosophy. Now I hear about some new shit where they want to bring together a coalition of different men with different values and different understanding and different logic. You can't maneuver in a room full of people with different logic. It's only going to create confusion. This is why the Kemetics shut down the temples. Now, if anybody knows of a Kemetic temple open today on the continent of Africa, tell me where to go. Tell me where to go find an ancient Kemetic system in operation in Africa in a well-built temple of today. Tell me where it exists. Where? I can tell you some prophecy out the Bible that you won't believe, that you'll say ain't true. that shit was going to get shut down forever, right? Y'all don't want to believe it. So let's hit you with this verse. All right. Here we go. Let me pull it up first. Let's go back to sharing some screens. I'm going to hit you with a little Bible. It's early in the morning. Blessings for God's people, starting at 17. This is Joel chapter 3, starting at 17. It says, then you will know that I, the Lord your God, dwell in Zion, my holy hill. Jerusalem will be holy. Never again will foreigners invade her. In that day, the mountains will drip new wine, and the hills will flow new milk. All the ravines of Judah will run with water. A fountain will flow out of the Lord's house, and will waters of valleys associate. But Egypt will be desolate, Edom a desert. Now, all of this is prophetic language. Prophetic language. The hills and the valleys are referring to the people of God. The water that flows from their mouth will be the waters of God. The word of God will flow. In Egypt, oh yeah, that's going to be the great city. See, the great city was destroyed in 70 AD. Y'all know about that preterism. Y'all hate for me to drop that preterism. But the city was destroyed. That city was known as the prophetic Sodom and the symbolic Egypt. And it'll be destroyed forever. In like manner, the system opposing it was also destroyed. So what the Kemetics got to do, not reconstruct some churches in America, some temples in America. They need to go back to the continent of Africa and tell us why the temples were closed. I've seen Ashwa Kwesi travel to Kemet on video many a times, but he never visited a temple open for business. He visited relics, old stones. He just bypassed the Coptic church. He didn't want to walk in there and find out what really going on around here. He wanted to go to the relics. Talk about the good old days when the temples were open, but the temples were closed. Which Kemetic has done a story or a video on the ancient temples of Kemet and the last one open for business? They tried to resurrect the cult of the cats. What you know about the cult of the cats? Little last dig trying to get it in. It didn't last. It was destroyed. Then the entire system of the Roman Caesars was also destroyed. They were following the same system as pointed out in the book Stolen Legacy. I repeat again, Stolen Legacy damages all the Kemetics. Y'all running with them white folks. Y'all integrated with them white folks then, and you are integrated with them white folks now. And you're trying to confiscate the red, black, and green flag. And you're trying to integrate that too. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen because you guys are fully integrated. All you're doing is Satanism. In blackface. Your words agree way too much with theirs. Your program is way too close to theirs. Therefore, your shit shut down already. Unless you go operate with them. This is why all you good for is Hollywood. You're a Hollywood movie. That's about best you could be. The Kemetic reconstructionists of America. Why I never hear y'all talk about Kemetic reconstruction? Why does Pit Boss have to bring it out? Huh? Why is that so? I bet you if I drop this link, they won't show up. I bet you. I bet you if I drop this link out there, they won't show up. This ain't as easy. Oh shit. Y'all don't even matter at this. Pit Boss keep pulling up shit. Yeah. About religion. Egyptian paganism and Kemetic reconstruction. There are some traditions of modern paganism that follows the structure of the ancient Egyptian religion. Typically, these traditions sometimes referred to as Kemetic paganism or Kemetic reconstruction. Follows a basic principle of Egyptian spirituality. There goes that double speak word. Such as honoring the nature or the deities and finding a balance between man's need for the natural world, like many ancient cultures such as Greek and Romans. There goes your trio, your combo. There go your integrated kids. You know how you did them Greeks and them Romans. You built their societies. The Egyptians incorporated religious belief into their daily lives rather than keeping them separate. Kemetic reconstruction, a recon tradition, is one based upon actual historical writings and attempts to literally reconstruct the practice of specific cultures. Y'all don't even want to know. Y'all don't even want to know about this lady right here. She wrote some cold books. Paganism, Wicca expert. Y'all pushing that Wicca. Y'all not pushing Kemet. Y'all pushing Wicca. You trying to play it off like it's Kemet. I got you. But the white folks call it Wicca because they know what they're looking at. This shit's Wicca. Look at this. This is what you love. See, you can't say that this Kemetic information comes from black folks in the modern day. You can't say that. All you can say, and you can tell us the history, tell us that you don't agree with Champollion and all the others. You could try to push Dr. Ben out there as he gave you the truth in the booth, but the white folks was on it long before you. Long before you. They didn't even try to resurrect a true temple. Now, Aleister Crowley did. He created the temple. He created Thelema. Y'all don't want to know about that Thelema, do you? See, the framework, in addition to the Kemetic reconstruction movement, there are also many groups that follow Egyptian gods within the neo-pagan framework, utilizing the Northern Europeans, the wheel of the year, and the Wiccan Sabbath dates. Oh, shit. The Wiccans are following the Kemetics. The Greeks were following the Kemetics. The Romans were following the Greeks, following the Kemetics. And Moloch still lives today in Wicca. Let's get Moloch on the scene. Where you at, Moloch? Moloch. It's crazy. Y'all hate the fact I know this shit, don't you? Get Moloch on the scene. Let's take a look at Moloch first. Oh shit, that ain't the Moloch. We gotta put the mythology on there. We need the right Moloch. There you go. Come on, Moloch. Where your ass at? Look, you can't get a good picture of Moloch. There you go. See, this is the white version of Moloch right there, right? This is this guy. He got the double horns. He looked like a big ass Viking. He got the two skulls, shrunken skulls on his head, right? You see the emblems coming off his beard. He got three. Oh, there's some symbolism going on. There's some symbolism. He got the hairy legs, the animal legs. That's one version. That's one. Fairy tales. He showed up in all their fairy tales, right? Now let's go to the pages. See what pops up. Moloch. Let's go to Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Now, Moloch is the biblical name relating to a Canaanite god associated with child sacrifice. Damn it, man. The name Moloch results from a diaphonic vocalization of the Second Temple period in the theme based on the root MLK, king. There are a number of Canaanite gods with name based in this root, which became similarly associated with Moloch, including the biblical Malcolm, the great king, which appears to refer to the god of the Ammonites, as well as the Tyrene Melquart and others. Rabbinical tradition depicts Moloch as a bronze statue heated with fire into which the victims were thrown. This has been associated with reports by the Greco-Roman authorities on child sacrifice in Carthage and Baal and Hammon, especially since the archaeologists excavating since the 1920s have produced evidence for child sacrifice in Carthage, as well as inscriptions included in the term MLK. Either the theorem or the technical term associated with sacrifice, that's Moloch. 18th century depiction of Moloch idol. Oh man, the Babylonians had a Moloch. Oh shit. Any more pictures? Any more pictures? Let's see what that is. Here's a statue to Moloch. You see, he got the eye on his chest. You see all this shit? You see the symbol in the center of his chest? That's the Lima. That's that Wicca that Crowley jumped on. You see the sun? Oh man. This is a depiction. You see his third eye open? He got his third eye open. He got the double horns. Now, watch how I can just take white folk Google and connect these dots. This shit too easy. Too easy to do. Why y'all even playing with it? If y'all was keeping it real, I wouldn't even have to do this shit. I would say, well, you know, if you want to learn about the real, just go listen to them. So I'm gonna put Moloch, Egyptian gods, right? A list of Egyptian gods and goddesses. So we're gonna get it. Amun-Ra. I need Amun-Ra. Here we go. Amun, a man with a head of a ram, king of gods, the god of wind, combined with Sun Ra to become more powerful. Now, we're going to look up Amun. Hold on, let's go back. Amun. Right. We're going to get some images. Okay. Now, let's take Moloch off here. See what happens. See what we get. All right. So now, I need a better picture. Give me a better picture. Okay. I'm trying to get the right one that blows up big. Let's take, oh shit. Come on, what's up with these pictures? Come on, man. We got the whole world watching. Oh man, this is crazy. Oh, get back, get back. Hold on. We're gonna find one. Is this one? All right. We're gonna use a real amulet. I'm gonna pull it off onto my computer so I can blow it up. Bring it on up. So y'all can get a good look. So the hat he wears, the double pillars, as that transferred over to the Greek god, right? Those double pillars would exist. Let's give you an example, right? Let's go with the top god. Let's go with the Greek gods, right? Oh, we don't want that. Hold on, be strong. A list of the Greek mythological figures. Okay. So we want to find the top one. We want to find Zeus. Where is Zeus? Okay. The king of gods. This is the guy. So the king of the god rulers of Mount Olympus, the god of the sky, weather, thunder, lightning, law, order, and justice. He is the youngest of the Cronus of Rhea, and overthrows the Cronus and gains sovereignty of heaven for himself. The art is depicted in regal, mature man with the sturdy figure and dark beard. He is usually attributed to the royal scepter and the lightning bolt. His sacred animal includes the eagle and a bull. His Roman counterpart is Jupiter. Ah, Jupiter in Rome is Zeus. We need to know that, right? So here we got Zeus. We're going to connect Zeus and Jupiter right on into Molech. Uh-oh. Right on into the rest of them. So all of these gods, right? Now this is the one that they would depict with that hat right there. He would become Serapis later on. As you see, none of this shit is connected to the Bible. All this shit connected to Kemet. This is all connected to Kemet. Stop playing with it. So let's go back and let's get the history of Moloch, right? Gotta go back, get the history of Moloch on that ass, right? Moloch, ancient gods. As we know, he comes from a Canaanite deity, right? In the Hebrew Bibles, they present him as a foreign deity who was at times illegitimate, given a place in Israel's worship. Woo. Moses was over. The law given to Moses by God expressly forbid that the Jews to do what was done in Egypt or in Canaan. They was operating the same thing, right? So now, that's why when you see Baal in the Bible, right? Who is Moloch? Let me see what they talking about here. This might not be super credible, but we're gonna take a look. With many details of ancient history, the exact origins of Molech worship is unclear. The term Moloch is believed to have originated with the Phoenicians, MLK. The Phoenicians, those are the children of the Egyptians, which refer to a type of sacrifice made to confirm or acquit a vow. Malik is a Hebrew word for king. It was common for the Israelites to combine the name of pagan gods with the vowels in Hebrew words for shame, Bosheth. This is how the goddess of fertility of war, Astar, became Ashtar. And the combination of MLK, Malik, the Boshtar results in Moloch, which could be interpreted as personified ruler, a shameful sacrifice. Remember, this was a sacrifice of children to the gods. This was Canaanite Egyptian worship of the Phoenicians in the city of Carthage. That's where the boat builders built the boats. That's where the written language for Greek would emerge. With the Phoenicians, they would go over there and teach those Greeks, and the Greeks would name their kings, their deities, and steal the legacy of Kemet. Yeah, the Phoenicians were a loosely gathered group of people who inhabited Canaan, modern-day Lebanon and Syria and Israel, between 1550 and 300 BC. In addition was sexual rituals. Moloch worship include child sacrifice or passing children through the fire. It is believed that idols and Molochs were giant metal statues of a man with a bull's head. The bull's head. Remember when them Hebrew Israelites was worshiping that bull in the desert? And Moses came down and smacked them up. Was ready to kill them all over this madness. What is you doing worshiping Moloch? You aren't supposed to be worshiping Moloch. You a Hebrew. These are Canaanite gods, black people gods. The hell are you doing worshiping them black folks gods? I wish them Ashkenazis would say that was them in the desert. I wish they would pull that one on me. I'll smack them up, be like, you was worshiping Moloch in the desert? Yeah. See, the story is so confusing these days. Once you put Satanism in blackface, shit goes crazy. That's why the conscious community is dying. Because they shit been exposed. Pit boss on the scene, dropping this shit down early in the goddamn morning, just making your day numb-minding, just mind-blowing shit. Y'all not ready. Now, I have a different breakdown. It's gonna take me time. I wasn't prepared in this thing here to break this all the way down and break you from Amun to Moloch. But he appears every century. He's in the video games these days. You can catch Moloch in a video game. Operating correctly operating. So now, the world is fornicating with whoever NZSI is. Pit boss ain't no futurist. The Bible is completed in the 1st century. Sorry, everything happening today is not biblical prophecy unfolding. That's just not the case. All you have today is systems. Some systems follow in proper order, others are not. The same results begin to happen. We start to see the same effects, because once you do the same thing, you get the same effect. That's just the law of nature. But you're not going to learn this listening to all these idiot channels. Well, I think I'll drop the link just in case it's an early bird out there who, I'll leave it up for a little while, see if somebody want to click it. Usually they stay off my channel because it's hard to take the heat. Over here at the Pit Boss channel, it ain't that easy. You're just not going to come on here and pump that fake Pan-African to me. You're not going to come on here and drop that bullshit madness over here. It's my questionnaire is difficult. Should you try me, I'm gonna hit you with the questionnaire. You have to know what you're talking about. This ain't the easy. This ain't the easy route over here. Over here, you're gonna get the drill. The drill is real. I'm ready for battle. If you decide you want to take it on. Other than that, I'm gonna drop a little bit more and say good morning to you. It's time to get up. Now, you know, I changed my course around a little bit. I'm going down with the program, the STEM. No one else is pushing the STEM because they ain't gonna push Booker T. Washington. If you ain't pushing Booker T. Washington, what kind of STEM is you pushing? Who you gonna base your STEM on? Who brought that info? I heard a lady say, well, Black people need to be operating science and they need to be operating relationships in the Black community. Like, don't you know we got to reconstruct the children's thought process? Don't you understand? In order to gain ground, we got to re-educate the children so that as they grow up with a new mind to lead us into a different direction, because the people who've already grown and accepted their ideas is too hard to change. They change, but it doesn't happen as quickly as children. You take children 7 years old and give them 10 years of training, and when they're 17, they're ready to attack the world with a brand new mind in 10 years. You can't do that with adults. It takes forever to train an old dog new tricks. They don't switch up as fast. You've exposed the whole conscious community at the end of 16. They're already back to their same goddamn tricks. They must think they're going to win. They're going to lose. They're doing the same shit to a new crowd, a brand new crowd who not familiar with all the videos they dropped over the years. So they just rehashing it, talk about this, talk about that. They want to bring in counter COINTELPRO. Look, if they were techies and they understood how cold this tech game is, it's over. There's no privacy anymore. It don't matter what you think you're doing. Because when you're not thinking they watching, they watching. They all inside your equipment. You have let them into your life through your cell phone. Everywhere you go, every step you take, they track it. Whether you accept it or not, this is what's going on. Every email you send, they know where you send it. Every phone call you make, they know where you make it to. They don't have to listen in. All they got to do is observe from where to where, how often, and when. And they got you. They know exactly what's going on. If you fit the protocol, they'll look in deeper. If not, they're not tripping on you. You ain't effective. You half-stepping. All of that trying to go up to Washington, D.C. and bounce against Trump is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Black folks ain't got no jig with white folks in politics. Forget about it. You ain't got no economic structure. You don't have no leverage. You're not operating any major corporations that stand by themselves. The ones that we got are all infiltrated and operated and funded by the broad of America, who do not agree with Black folks being on their own, doing their own thing. Therefore, they're controlled. So if you're going to go up there marching and hooping and hollering with a controlled population, you're going to lose. No one is going to finance your anti-Trump program. They're not going to finance it. They know you're not going to win to be getting behind you. So what you need to do is re-educate the children. Take the children and turn them into the modern technology thinkers so that they can develop businesses and institutions that uplift the economics of Black folks in America to the point that we create our own jobs, that we can give jobs to ourselves, so that those that go to college can think about working for Black folks and still making $300,000 a year. Or that they can go to a Black science company or technology company with their ideas and make millions of dollars. And if they don't want to work with white folks, because white folks will give you that opportunity as long as you let them control every goddamn thing. They'll let you make millions. They'll call you Jay-Z or whoever, whatever name you want to go by. Jehovah. They'll let you rock that. They ain't tripping. They just want to control it all. So all this hooping and hollering by these so-called nationalists, fronting and faking that you're going to make a statement. We've seen it all. None of it's working. Only thing that is for sure is that you can control your environment through your economics. That's for sure. Yeah, they could attack that and try to break it down, but they got to bring the crack back. You got to bring the guns in. You got to start locking everybody up for speeding down the street in their vehicles. You got to start harassing the group to tear it down. And when they start the harassment, we can identify the enemy. We can identify you once you start your harassment. But until that time, you're not going to win. So y'all don't have to listen to Pit Boss. I'm going to drop my website on you. It's going to smack you in the face. I'm going technical with my shit. I've already started products. We got the soap. The soap is done. It's sitting on the shelf. We waiting on the goddamn labels. The labels are coming this week. Takes time. Takes time to build some righteous shit. I'm sending out all the information. Y'all gonna be soap makers and producers if you care to be. We're gonna even advance past that. I got more products for you, easier to make, easier to manufacture if you don't got a lot of money. The soap ain't going nowhere. We just gonna learn how to make it, and you're gonna learn how to build. Then we're gonna get super technical with this shit. We're going totally technical, advanced. We got tech builders, internet app developers, coders. We need deep. If I show you all the shit Pit Boss could do, if I show you I could track every YouTube account on this thing, tell you how much money they make, when they make it, and what day they get paid, Pit Boss could do it. That's what having a technical mind is about. That's what being a calculated risk taker is about. I don't waste my time with it because I'm not interested. I don't give a shit how much you're making. I don't care. That's the only reason why I don't show you, because it doesn't bother me. I'm not tripping. I'm on some other shit. I'm on the mothership, on some other shit, smoking on some, you know what I'm talking about. It's too early in the morning. So I'm not gonna come on as much as y'all like me to, because I'm gonna nail this shit. I'm about to develop some shit. I will upload. I will show y'all the progress in my moves I'm making. You know, I don't have the same support structure as the other channels that talk about the nonsense. So since I don't have the support structure, I'll limit my intensity and focus on the business until the business supports me. Then I'll come back balling on your motherfucking ass. And I'll show you how to do this, son. So, you know, I'm going to dip out of town. I'm going to make some moves. I'm going to upload some video. I'm going to show y'all Pit Boss in technical and technicolor. And I'm going to lace you with the game. If y'all can accept it, as we move down the road of this year, I'm going to quickly divide what I'm doing versus these other channels and their nonsense conversation. They scared to hit me up, be like, come on and face us then, Pit Boss, because I will come on their channels and decimate that shit. They be scared of that shit. And I'm not even interested in doing that. But I understand why they stay back off my shit. Because they ain't never heard this shit. They ain't never heard of somebody rocking Booker T. They ain't never came with that. None of them. None of them can go back 3 years ago and play me a video where they was rocking Booker T in the pre-Garvey history. None of them. They all got that shit coming over here to see what I'm doing. And I put it out there for them to have their own spiritual warfare. Now, connect that Bible to Moloch, other than they mention a Moloch with the Canaanites. Connect that shit to the Bible. Black Satanists, white Satanists in blackface, connect them dots for me. Because I'll come back on here and show you the Celtic history with that paganistic shit that ain't got shit to do with the Bible, everything to do with Kemet. Nothing to do with the Bible and everything to do with Kemet. Y'all don't want to see it. Y'all better leave it alone. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard on the block. So, before I get out of here, let's promote a little something. Let's show you how we do this, son. The calculated risk taker. What is that? What is that, you ask? Calculated. Fully aware of the probable consequences, the risk, a measure of value between dangerous and pleasure. The takers, those in possession of the wind. A calculated risk taker understands its consequences in between dangerous and pleasure and calculates to win. A calculated risk taker. That's how you do that there, right? Now, where do we move from that? We move into the digital age. We move into the DPB studio, optimizing purpose for the value of time. That is how you win this game. Optimize your purpose to save time. Time of the frustration of listening to the fake ass conscious community argue about Bibles and history. The shit is old and tired as shit. I'm unsubscribing from you sorry ass niggas. Leaving you black crackers to fight with the white cracker. Y'all fight amongst yourselves because you think just alike. I'm going to leave you black Satanists to get along with the white Satanists. Y'all got the same script. I'm going to technicolor your ass. Take you out of black and white into technicolor. I'm going to optimize my purpose for the value of my time. Y'all can't touch it. Y'all don't understand it. Y'all not ready for it. Y'all not ready for it. Y'all can't win. If they watching you, watch them back. The Aviator Squad is on the scene, and we watch it. Let me bring that up. The better flow. Got the Aviator Squad. What is that? Well, the Aviator Squad is the vision. It is the visual eye to the program. It is the technical expression of information through visualization. The Aviator Squad is in the air. Yeah, 99 light years away from here, moving at 186,000 miles per second. You can't grasp it. Why you ask it? And it all is brought to you by the Digital Pit Boss. I'm branding building. I'm building brands. I'm moving through the atmosphere covertly. When you don't see me, I see you. When you see me, I see you. Trust and believe. I'm one move ahead in the grand chessboard. I'm one move ahead. I'm your boy, Digital Pit Boss. It is this simple. Be impeccable with your words. Always do your best. Never make assumptions. And never take it personal. Because taking it personal will only aggravate your mind. It is a spiritual warfare that you're having. It is a physical experience that you're seeing. Y'all have a great day and a good moment.